government is pushing, Himani, and this is a move towards that. The Cabinet has approved, and this is the breaking news that's coming in, the new direct tax code has been approved by Cabinet, and now it will go on to Parliament for approval. Let's find out more. Himani, do stay with us. Vishwanathan joins us. He's a tax expert from RSM Astute. Good to have you. Good evening, Vishwanathan. Now, we're talking a lot about tax reforms coming in through the new direct tax code, whether it's corporate, whether it's personal taxation. So, these reforms, if you can put it in perspective for us, what are the changes that we can expect with the new direct tax code likely to come in soon?
Yeah, the first thing is that the direct tax code moving forward itself is a very positive step for the UPA government, for which they should be complimented. As far as there are a lot of reliefs which are there in respect of capital gains, in respect of salaried employees, and in respect of income slabs. While the exact number and details of that are awaited, but overall it is a very, very positive development as far as the taxpayer is concerned, as far as simplification of the procedures is concerned, and it is a welcome step from an industry and a professional perspective.
Absolutely. So in real terms then, Vishwanathan, do tell us, when it comes to personal taxation at Smart Money, of course, we are very interested in how it's going to affect people like you and me. So do tell us, what kind of changes can we expect?
The initial rates, whatever was indicated in last July, they are a very, very tax-friendly regime where the income up to 10 lakh rupees was subject to tax of only 10%. And then there was a structured tax levy thereafter. But in those rates, we are not very clear whether those rates are still valid as on today or whether there will be some changes. Considering the fact that government has definitely given up a lot of taxable events, like they had the EEF, earn and pay models.
Right.
There could be some tinkering in those rates which are likely to be announced when the final thing is brought in Parliament or thereafter during the Union Budget next year.
Absolutely. Himani, our correspondent there in the capital, who's bringing us this piece of news right now, this breaking news that the Cabinet has approved the new direct tax code, is still with us. Increasing state revenues, Himani, is one of the chief reasons why the government is also keen to push this through. Overall, they want to draw in more people in the tax net. So towards that, I guess this is a move in that direction, isn't it, Himani?
Absolutely, this is a move in right direction. Not just this will bring down the tax slabs and the tax rates as of now, but this will widen the tax net. The number of items will be added. Remember, we have a very small number of people who pay income tax in comparison to the amount of people which need to be included in the tax net. So clearly, this tax code is basically to give away some of the exemptions which have been given in the past and widen the tax net.
Exemptions is something that, of course, is something that people get used to, whether it's in personal taxation or in the space of corporate taxes. Vishwanathan, now those will go and will make way for a more uniform, a more homogeneous kind of tax, the way we pay our taxes and the entire system in which it works. So do you see those changes coming in for some negative criticism as well from certain quarters?
Yeah. So, like for example, the changes in respect of tax benefits on housing loans and interest payments. Like there are a lot of people who have taken housing loans and interest payments and have banked on them for the purpose of income tax relief. Now, a sudden withdrawal of that will have a disastrous effect in terms of the real estate industry as well as in terms of those people who have banked on that from a tax planning perspective.
Correct.
So, government will have to do a balancing act in ensuring that while having no exemptions is the idealistic situation, we may probably move into that stage in phases. Like you may have a first phase where some of those are withdrawn, and then over a period of maybe 2 or 3 years, you may ultimately reach the idealistic situation of a very low tax with no exemptions in totality. This is what I could perceive.
Absolutely. So now that we're looking at the new direct tax code coming in by April of 2011, what do you suggest our investors should be doing, especially with home loans?
As far as investors is concerned, I think they should not rush into close on the home loans if there are new home loans to be taken. They should wait for a month or two to get more clarity on how things are emerging before they take in. But as far as those people who have already taken housing loans, they should continue to hold on to it.
Fair enough. Do stay with us, Vishwanathan. Himani, to bring you in on this one, as far as looking at the Parliament approving the new direct tax code is concerned, what kind of hurdles do you see coming in the way?
Now the tax code will go to the standing committee of Parliament. Clearly, some of the views will be expressed in favor of direct tax code and some will be expressed in opposing the direct tax code. While there were certain reservations by SEZs that they'll be taxed further, or the exemption which have been given, some of them will be taken back, and in the case of ULIP to be taken into the tax net. All these issues will be viewed by the standing committee of Parliament, and it will form an opinion which way direct tax goes. Clearly, after the standing committee gives its recommendation, we can see some changes in direct tax code, or it might just be a clearance by standing committee. But clearly, we will have to wait and watch what are the recommendations standing committee gives, which is comprised of a lot of parliamentarians, and a lot of political pulls and pressures will be played in deciding the major rejig for the direct tax regime.
That's right, and we will see what those recommendations are very closely. We'll be tracking this space, and that's exactly what we're going to do. But Vishwanathan, just to draw you into what we're hearing on the new direct tax code, income tax exemption would be increased up to 2 lakh rupees if it goes off in its current form. That's what they're saying. Corporate tax now at 30% from 33.6%, and wealth tax, income tax and dividend tax to all be merged. These are the possibilities that we are looking at. What are your reactions to these?
It's a positive thing. It's a very positive moment. But the only thing is that as far as no exemptions being available at the lower bracket, definitely increase the net effective tax to people who are having income presently of maybe 3 lakhs and below.
We're looking at income tax exemption increased up to 2 lakh rupees. Do you think that could go up by the time we get the final new direct tax code approved by Parliament?
Yeah, that may probably go up. It all depends upon balancing act the government does in terms of the exemption withdrawal versus the pro tax limits. They will have to do a fine balancing act, as alternatively there could be a serious backlash in terms of the taxpayer sentiment against for or against the government.
Right. Himani, if you could tell us this, what would be top of mind for the government when they're looking at the new direct tax code? They have been able to bring it this far, and now they will be looking actively for support from all sources within Parliament to get it approved. What would be top of mind for them?
Absolutely, some of the exemptions that they've been talking about that will be done away with in the direct tax code, those might just create a sort of opposition from some of the parties. Clearly, huge stakes are involved when we talk about pension funds, and we talk about taxing somebody's saving. All of this will be decided, and definitely UPA will be looking at key players in Parliament to garner support on direct tax code. But it looks like the way it has been smoothly cleared, and it will be tabled in this session, direct tax code might just not face that kind of difficulty which definitely government will face in case of GST. A lot of states' interest is involved in GST, which is creating a lot of hurdles in meeting the deadline. But clearly, in case of direct tax code, it seems like it is much achievable, and industry as well as states are looking forward to such a change in direct tax regime.
That's right, and Vishwanathan is here. Himani, thank you so much for joining us for the moment. We'll let you go and get us more details on the new direct tax code, which has been approved by the Cabinet. And of course, we'll go on now to Parliament, to that standing committee first, and we'll see how it moves. Thank you so much for joining us for the moment. Vishwanathan is still with us on the phone line. Do tell us the point that Himani is trying to make. Where GST is concerned, we're looking at a lot of hurdles, many of them coming in from state governments. It has been grounded on political and state opposition, and analysts are warning that the deadline may be missed as negotiations, they drag on the GST front. But not so with the new direct tax code. What are the essential differences? Because when you're looking at GST, goods and services tax, you're looking at India's most ambitious indirect tax reform, really, Vishwanathan.
Yeah, as far as GST is concerned and the direct tax code is concerned, one of the fundamental differences is GST is a tax which is going to be levied both by the center and the states. And traditionally, the states have been deciding what they will charge. and the government will have to do an extreme balancing act in balancing the goals of the states as well as the center. Whereas in the case of direct tax code, traditionally it has only been a center's prerogative, and it still continues to be a center's prerogative. As such, as long as Parliament is approving the direct tax code bill, it will get passed through and get implemented smoothly.
That's right. Yes.
States will not have any significant say in the direct tax code per se.
That's right. I mean, that's a fundamental difference. We're looking at indirect taxation, and the biggest reform over there coming in by way of goods and services tax. And here is the new direct tax code that we're talking about at length. A part of that is the corporate tax. Now looking at 30% from what was 33.6%. Is that significant to you?
Yes, it is definitely significantly vital. It is pro-industry, and but at the same time, one will still have to see what are the provisions in respect of minimum alternate tax and all those things in the direct tax code. Maybe when the fine print comes in, we will get more clarity on that. What is the treatment for the SEZ units, and what is the treatment for the other units, which are presently subjected to MAT.
Vishwanathan, thank you so much for joining us with your perspective on the new direct tax code. Thanks for speaking to Bloomberg UTV. We have more opinions coming in. Suresh Swami joins us from PricewaterhouseCoopers on the phone line. Suresh, good to have you. Good